live from New York, the scene of protests that we are very upset about, very embarrassed about, and really had thought we were way beyond this, beyond protests of this kind that go. This wasn't protest. This was, I don't know that I'd call it a riot. It wasn't like the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots of 2020 when the CNN and MSNBC phony communist reporters would stand there and say, this is a very peaceful riot. And behind you, you would see people being beaten, buildings burning down, people alleged to be starving, stealing $10,000 televisions, that sort of thing. No, it wasn't that kind of riot. It was more of a lower level, second, third rate group of protesters that could have easily been handled if a police department had been empowered. That police department last night was not empowered. I know that police department better than anyone does. And that would have been over in about 10 minutes if we had a mayor. We don't have a mayor. We have something, but we don't have a mayor. He does talk to God, but apparently doesn't get very good advice. It should never have happened at all. They should have been all kept on the street. The minute they started roughing around with the cops, off, gone. Don't know how many were arrested. Don't know who spent the night in jail. This is a group that's been around for a while now. They did the interruption of the Thanksgiving parade. They did the attack on the Manhattan Bridge. They did another demonstration that got out of control, and they threatened to disrupt yesterday quite a bit in advance. Now, I'm going to tell you something really interesting. It used to be in the old days, they never ever did anything they threatened because the police department was so damn prepared. They looked at it and walked away. Things are changing. They're changing for the worse in New York, and that's a shame. But we'll get back to that a little bit later because our partner and friend, as you know, Ted, was there with a good deal of footage. He played some of it last night. Didn't really have the time to edit it properly last night, so he has a little bit not so much new things, but better organized. And we'll see. I don't know the best way to describe this. I think you're going to see, and this is not just a generalized. This isn't a joke. This is actually a serious statement. You'll see how stupid they are. You really will see how stupid they are. These are extraordinarily ignorant people trying to make what is a very sophisticated, very important point about life and death. But they're clowns. Well, the ceasefire is over. But, the ceasefire has been over almost there really was never a ceasefire. Israel ceased firing and Hamas continued to fire. But that's, of course, a Biden directed ceasefire because there's no doubt that Biden has been tying Netanyahu's hands from the very beginning of this so-called war. The game plan the Israelis had was not allowed to be used, which was major invasion of Gaza. Quickly, get it over with quick before everybody got a chance to complain. Now everybody's had a chance to complain, and all the usual communist specs are in the game, and they are winning. Before the rather definitive end of the season today, which involved a bombing attack on a Jerusalem bus depot, which for me has a lot of emotional significance, which I'll tell you about shortly. But the teams, I believe, 5 dead, and how many wounded? Ted? Wounded. And 5. And that was the attack. That was the attack in Jerusalem at the bus terminal. Right. Now, there is an allegation that we can't seem to verify that one of the 2 people, at least 2, who were responsible for both of whom I think were killed. One of them was someone who was just released, a hostage that was just released. which would not be unusual. I mean, if we go back, I don't know if I traced this for you on this show last night on my radio show, but if you go back into the history of these disproportionate deals where the Israelis get one soldier back and give up 1,250 Palestinian murderers, within a short period of time, those people are murdering Israelis. In the 2011 deal, which I guess is the most notorious, within a couple of years, they had killed 3 or 4 teenagers. They had organized 2 or 3 major attacks, meaning the people that were released. And you remember some of these people that were released already had 6, 7 murders to their credit already. So when they were let out, they were professional murderers. And of course, what a professional murderer is going to do, particularly ones who murder for a cause, they're going to murder. So I don't know if it is correct that one of the people responsible for the bombing today was just a recently released hostage or whatever you want to call prisoner. But it would not be unusual, and it's going to happen. It's totally predictable. Uh, but before this, here's a list which I don't know. I think we get some of this last night, but this is what they've done during. This is Hamas's idea of the ceasefire. They fired rockets at Israeli civilians almost every day. They detonated 3 bombs that were targeted directly at the IDF. They opened fire on a number of different occasions where they had opportunities on IDF soldiers. This is a ceasefire imposed to a large extent by Joe Biden. This would be a Biden ceasefire, right? The kind of ceasefire that a man who's never been right on any issue of foreign policy would do, or a man who owes his loyalties to anything but the United States of America or their what he says, our friend Israel. With friends like Biden, Israel does not have a long, long time to go, unfortunately. They violated the condition of the hostage for prisoners deal by refusing to release mothers and children together. Now, that's just mean is much too mild a word. It's diabolical. I don't know if you're a spiritualist. If you are, and you go back to the more spiritual interpretations of the Old Testament and New Testament, these people very much could be descendants of Satan. I mean, you don't release the mothers and the children together? Oh, I I don't even know if that's deliberate. I think that comes from their unbelievable hatred of the Jewish people and where they put the Jewish people in their feelings. I saw a tape the other night, and I can't get my hands on it, but it was 2 young girls. I mean, sweetest looking young girls, maybe 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, being taught by a female teacher to hate Jews. And she just kept getting them to repeat, hate, you gotta hate Jews. Jews wanna kill you. Jews wanna kill you. Jews wanna take everything you have. Jews have taken everything you have. Jews, 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 Jews. I mean, I don't even think they knew what Jews were. They're too young. But by the time these girls are 12, 13 years old, it's like they're like witches. The Jews are presented like witches. Now, this is not Hamas. This, uh, this instruction took place in a UN school. Yeah, you probably don't know that because the censored media doesn't tell you this, and the New York Times hides it. But the UN Relief Agency is a creature of Islamic extremist terrorism. They put out textbooks that teach children to destroy Israel. Released saying for when Biden decided to continue to fund that UN relief agency. Trump, a much more intelligent man and a man who loves America, cut off funding for them immediately. And despite all of the attacks by the New York Times on how he was hurting this and hurting that, he had the common sense to know that the UN is a crooked, dishonest organization made up of a large number of criminals and a much larger number of perverts than you actually realize. Uh, they denied the Red Cross permission to visit the hostages. I think that's a war crime. Where's the charges in the world court against them? Where are the charges for their raping women that we see videos of? They don't deny it. There are videos of them explaining how they rape women. You could try the case in the world court with their confessions. I mean, we try all these characters from Eastern Europe in the world court, these battles that go back 500 years, and they're fighting over some thing that happened 500 years ago, and we bring them before the Slobovovich and Bobovich and Babovich. We tried them all before the world court, and obviously they did horrible things, but I bet they didn't do anything as horrible as this, or at least it couldn't have been, worse than this. So, we also have they're holding 170 innocent civilians in captivity, um, and also I wanna make another point, that keeps getting overlooked, because, dummy Blinken, blurted it out about 4 weeks ago, and since then it's been forgotten. There are, at least 4 or 500 Americans that are not being allowed out of Gaza, and then about 5 or 600 other people of different nationalities. I don't know why you don't consider them hostages. They are. And of course, the ones that we do consider hostages, we pay no attention because they're Americans, and Biden pays no attention to Americans. But the ones that are on that list, I mean, you might as well just cave in. Um, so today, a deliberate terrorist attack that takes me back 3 decades. It takes me back to when I was mayor of New York City, sitting in my office, and I got a call from my counterpart in Jerusalem, who was a very close friend. We had actually been elected mayors on the same day. As a result of that, we made a kind of a bond. I had known him actually since 1985, and, he called me and, Mayor Olmert, and there had been, several attacks. I had known about them. The principal attack was on a Jerusalem bus that rode Route 18, if I recall, and, about half the people on it died. There's also been bombings, during that period of time, in Jerusalem, another bombing, a bombing in Tel Aviv, a bombing in Escalon, from Hamas, the same organization of maniacal, homicidal animals. And, I called him actually, and, I said, "Can I help? I'll send you anything you need, send you, search and rescue teams or whatever that you need." I mean, I'm reading this and looking at this, and it breaks my heart to see this. And, he said, what you could do, Rudy, is we could come." And I said, Mayor, I'm very, tied to this desk." It's the weirdest thing, but I have this thing, like, I have to be here, and, a lot of it, particularly since we're going through a year or so, I'll feel better about traveling. Right now, I don't have it completely under the kind of control that I want. He said, "I understand that, and I understand if you can't come, but I can tell you why I want you to come. I want you to come because the people here have been battered pretty badly, um, and, they love you, and you're just as popular as the prime minister here." And, I'm not sure that was true, he said that, which was very nice. And, everybody on both sides here loves you. He was at that time a, um, member of the Hood Party, which was, the right-wing party, and after a short conversation, I don't know if I hung up agreeing or saying I would think about it, and within 6 minutes, I said, "Oh, damn, I can do this in th I had gone to Prime Minister Rabin's funeral in Israel, and I got that accomplished in 2 days. I stayed up all night, flew there, went to the funeral, went to the reception after the funeral, got on a plane and came back. And kept in touch. So I said, "I'll do the same thing here." He said, "Well, you're gonna have to spend a little more time because if you come, you have to go to Tel Aviv and Escalon because there were killings there. You gotta show them respect. What I really want you for is I'm taking the bus, that route, and I'm gonna do a ceremony when we start the route again, just to show people not to be afraid. Love to have you on that bus with me." And I said, "Well, I'd love to be on that bus with you." So we came over and, we were on the bus together. And I have to tell you, I went over there to bring morale and spirit to the Israeli people. When I came back thinking, "Boy, these people are unbelievable." They gave me morale. They gave me spirit, and I owe them for helping me develop the kind of attitude I had on September 11 by watching their bravery. Them and the people of London, which I didn't watch, but I read about during the Battle of Britain. They were my 2 examples of how I was tell the people, they can get through that. People of Jerusalem and the people of Tel Aviv and the people of Ashkelon can get used to buses blowing up with 23 people dead, injured, and they never know when it's gonna happen. Schools bombed, nightclubs bombed. What are we? Chickens? We can do it. We can do it. If the British can do it and the Israelis can do it, our friends of ours, we can do it because we all love freedom, and that'll pull us through.
And Mayor, we have video of that time you went to Jerusalem. This is from March 1996. This is Mayor Giuliani
Not even get recognized.
with that. Yeah, let's see if you can
With my friend.
figure out which of the two here is. So it's Mayor Giuliani, and who are you with in this video?
Mayor Homer.
Mayor Homer. So see if you can find Mayor Giuliani in this footage. And again, this is the mayor, and the mayor's riding the same bus number 18 line that had just been hit multiple times by the terrorist group Hamas.
By the
Hamas
terrorist
took
group, by
the
the
credit.
animals that are involved now because they've never been able to get them out to deal with them. And once again, Biden is preventing them. They are not on the road ending Hamas. We'll explain that later.
And let's watch the
I
clip.
think Biden has already won the day.
See if you recognize anyone here.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, how does it feel to be on this? Hold it, Dominic. You got the sound up?
This very place, not like a bus like this, but a regular one, was exploded some 20 meters away.
Okay.
Yes, and the bus really went on until here.
It just rolled in?
Because of the bomb.
Yeah.
Back to you.
He was explaining how the bombing took place and the bus rolled over. It's amazing. When I was there, I never knew what I had in store for me, did I? Or for my city? I don't even think I contemplated that. I didn't even contemplate like, well, this is. I should really watch this carefully because I may have to go through this in New York. But I did watch it carefully, and it did help me in going through New York. I even write about that in my book, how that was a very formative experience. Now, you just saw a small part of it, but I spent a great deal of time with the IDF people, with in the hospitals, and I also went to Tel Aviv, where I think it was a big shopping center that was bombed in Tel Aviv, and that was also a very large number of people that died, and they had a lot of people in the hospital I remember going to the hospital.
That's right.
Because
And
I get it confused also with the trip that I made there when they bombed the Sbarro Pizzeria. And
well,
the people in the hospital were hit with shrapnel. And I remember this young girl, beautiful young girl, she was in the hospital, and her beautiful face was filled with shrapnel scars, which I don't know if you like, but they're all, I mean, they can be a little tiny or very big. And she said, I'll never be beautiful again. She said, I'll never be beautiful again. I said, well, first of all, you're beautiful inside. And I know that that's not consolation, but it's reality. And number two, in the modern age, every bit of that can be fixed. Every bit of that can be fixed, and it will. And you're going to be quite beautiful.
and at the time,
I got
Mayor,
a picture of her 10 years later. She's quite beautiful.
and Mayor, at the time, you said, looking at some articles, you said the following in regards to terrorism. This is March 1996. If you let them control your behavior, they win.
Yeah.
So this is, you
100%.
said this is
And
5
we are-
years.
and that's what Biden is doing. Biden is letting them control the negotiations. Biden is a disgrace. In so many ways, Biden is a disgrace. He's an embarrassment as an American. I wish there was a way to strike him out of the list of Americans. I wish there was a way to take him out of American history, because we've never had miserable cowards like this in the White House before. And we are caving into a group of animals and letting them run the show. And what's the reaction to the 59 strikes on American armed forces? Biden, nothing. A couple of ammunition dumps with nobody there that were hit. This is a replay of Prince Obama and the 12 red lines that it took a real man, Ronald Reagan, to deal with 79 Tomahawk missiles. It didn't happen again. Don't you? What's wrong with you people? Is it because you're communists and you want this to happen? Or are you so stupid you really believe that appeasing a terrorist is going to do anything but just encourage more? Also, we got to talk about your Israel. Israel has got to rethink its policy of giving up 1,000 murderers for one soldier, despite how it pulls on your heart. But we'll be right back, and we'll discuss what Hamas is doing. The Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. This is Rudy Giuliani back again with America's Mayor Live. I just noticed a clip that says that Dan Goldman, the spoiled rich boy from New York who became a congressman, who appears to want to take Schiff's position as the biggest liar in Congress, today reiterated that the hard drive is Russian disinformation. I don't know. I mean, I don't get this idea of throwing Santos out. There are about 50 liars that are worse than Santos. Santos lied about a bunch of personal crap. These other people lied about things that affect the national security of the United States of America. I mean, this guy Goldman is a disaster. He one lie after another. I don't know how many times the Russian disinformation thing can be disproven, but he's doing the same thing. Well, let's listen to this lady in Israel, who I think probably you have the tape, right? The video of the three.
Yep.
Of what happened in Israel, and she'll describe it. I think it's better if they
Nope.
hear it from her.
Okay, I'll get that. I just have a video clip of what happened. I just have a video clip
Okay.
of the shooting, so we can come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that. Let's play it. Well, I mean, this is something that I think Bibi has just got to tell Biden to go to hell. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of Israel on its own, but when Biden tells him things, and I don't even know what to call Blinken other than not a you. Here's what they've done. They have adopted the Hamas strategy, Biden and Blinken. Now, I want you to look. Ted, can we show them what I have there?
Yep.
It says, here, I'll hold it up. It'll be faster. I don't want to waste time. Here, there it is. Can everybody see it?
Yep.
See what it says? What does it say, Ted? Read it.
So the underlying part says
Not the underlying part. This is the headline.
Hamas game plan: delay and survive.
Okay. We agree that's Hamas's game plan. This was written about 5 days ago. What is Biden telling and requiring BB to do? Well, delay, right? Delay. We'll get more hostages. We'll get more hostages. We'll get more hostages. Meanwhile, nobody is noticing the fact that our president doesn't seem to give a damn about the American hostages. He got the one kid out. You wonder, there's a coincidence that the one kid that got out comes from a family that's given him hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can't believe that that's part of it. And the kid deserves to be free and alive no matter what. But there are a lot of other people that didn't give him hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he sure as hell with his delays is the reason why, and I'm trying to look at the time here, why the 9-month-old Kafir Bibas now appears to be dead. I mean, they played football with him. First he was here, then he was there, then they moved him, then they were going to release him, then they didn't release him, and then today they announced he's dead. He's dead. The 9-month-old is dead. They say by Israeli fire. Well, come on. Like hell, Israeli fire. You know that was going to get the game plan from the beginning, and this jackass in the White House lets it happen. Every day you delay getting the Americans out, traitor, they deteriorate more. Every day you delay, the chance that the damage psychologically is irreparable is that much greater. And every day you delay is another day that risks their being killed, like Kafir. Are you proud of yourself that you couldn't rescue the little baby that was taken by Hamas? Are you proud of yourself, you damn coward? What the hell do we have special forces for? Now, Kafir wasn't an American. He was Israeli. But I mean, they're our best friends. We can't help them with this. Why don't you sit down with Bibi and work out the best extrication plan known to man? You got people that are capable of it, jackass. You've got the best special forces in the world, And if anybody has better ones, it's Israel. In fact, I think you want my professional analysis since I've worked with them? You haven't. They wouldn't work with you because you're too damn stupid. And you probably couldn't get a security clearance to do it. You don't think they knew all the shit you were doing all the years you were in Congress? And a senator? Playing around with China, playing around with Ukraine, playing around with Russia, taking money from Russia? You're a disgrace. It's a disgrace to our people that we elected you. It's embarrassing. So his advice to Bibi is right out of the Hamas playbook. Delay. So why does delay help Hamas so much? Well, it's easy, isn't it? Delay helps them because despite the fact that Biden had the Israelis fighting with one arm tied behind their back, they had to go in piecemeal. They were kicking the living daylights out of them. They already had Gaza under control. They have the north under control. They were preventing people from escaping to the south, and they were getting innocent people out going to the south, at least the ones that weren't being killed by Hamas. The minute you started the delay, the pressure's off Hamas, and now they can secrete people. They can hide people. Their mission here is to survive. They know they're going to take big losses. Human life means nothing to them. Nothing. Particularly the Palestinian citizens' lives mean nothing to them. They kill them themselves for tactical reasons. They'd prefer that you have a big civilian head count because they get phony sympathy from the idiots that march and go to Ivy League colleges. But they want to preserve their leadership. Now, they begin probably with having worked out a way in which Bibi couldn't win no matter what. Their leaders are protected in Qatar and other countries. Their three main leaders are living the lives of billionaires in Qatar. And we've done nothing to put pressure on Qatar to give them up. And you say, well, Qatar is helping us with the hostages. Yeah, where are the Americans? If Qatar is helping us with the hostages, and if we're putting so much money into this and so much time into this, shouldn't we get a little consideration and have our hostages returned first? Huh? I mean, you can't even accomplish that, idiot. You can't even accomplish, you and Blinken can't accomplish getting the Americans out. You can't accomplish getting the names of the Americans. You can't accomplish getting a status on them. You can't accomplish getting the Red Cross in there to take a look at them and make sure they're being, what do we have a president for? Why don't you just leave and let somebody else take over? I'll come in and do it for a couple of weeks and leave. I guarantee you, you put me there, I get them out. Also, you put any man or woman there that isn't a traitor, and they'll get them out. For this, as well as for so many other things, is there some way to just strike his name out of the, when you come up to him as the president, we just say, well, we can't remember who the president was for those years. How many Americans are you going to get killed before you, why don't you just leave? Go to a nursing home, huh? Then, you know, when you go to federal prison, they'll have a nice little spot for you. Maybe you can talk yourself out of going to prison by telling the truth and telling people you're demented, because you are demented. Now, it really was pretty damn obvious right now, and it really is frightening in the middle of this to have this kind of numbskull, idiot, clown. Can we play?
Which would you like first? We have a few new ones for you, Mayor.
I don't know. I don't know which one.
This is him on a tour in I believe Colorado, and he's speaking with some forklift operators, crane operators. Just watch this one here.
Now look, my Marine carries that. It has a code to blow up the world. That doesn't, this is not nuclear weapons, is it? All right, okay. Good.
He's against the
By the way, you think I'm kidding? No. It's our crane operator who's been here 13 years. Is that right? You start when you were 10? How old are you, man?
37.
You're getting old, man.
Play it one more time. You got to hear that one more time.
Yeah, we'll play the.
You got to hear that one more time and tell me this guy doesn't belong. He doesn't even belong in a nut house.
Quickly, buddy. Now look, my Marine carries that. It has a code to blow up the world. That doesn't. This is not nuclear weapons, is it? All right, okay. Good.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. The sentence doesn't make sense. I don't think it's was it supposed to be a joke? What's the joke? What's the punchline?
Right? Imagine, Mayor. Imagine if Trump said that.
What's the joke?
The joke is the guy was holding a satchel. So
Well,
he was comparing this guy, this crane operator, and his work equipment, making some.
You mean it looks like the football, like the nuclear football?
Probably doesn't at all, right? But to Biden, it did.
You think he knows what
He may have actually been asking. That might have been a serious question. Is this a
Can I
nuclear
see it?
football? Yeah, let's
I
watch it
know
again.
what it looks like.
Quickly, buddy. Now look, my Marine carries that. It has a code to blow up the world. That doesn't. This is not nuclear weapons, is it? All right, okay.
Now, I found a couple, but I didn't get the exact one that I wanted. My president, Ronald Reagan, my quintessential.
I'm gonna find it.
My quintessential great president, underestimated tremendously, but can't be overestimated. He used to always say in his condemnation of mutually assured destruction as immoral. He said, because, and here, we're going to talk about Henry Kissinger. Here's one of his advances on Henry. Henry did kind of subscribe to mutually assured destruction as a way to hold the world together, and maybe the only way that his imagination could get us to. And I'm not saying that Henry wasn't brilliant, but in some ways, Reagan morally could go steps beyond him. So Reagan always felt that mutually assured destruction was immoral in terms of the way we secure the survival of the world. So we can destroy Russia can destroy us. And then China becomes part of it. I'm not sure at that point China had the capacity to destroy the world, but to do great damage. But we did. Russia and the United States had the capacity to destroy much of the known world if they went to massive nuclear war. And therefore, nobody was going to do it. So the point that President Ronald Reagan used to make is that's a horrible way to create security for the world. I mean, if you think about it, it just creates insecurity, right? But the world then rests on neither country making a mistake and putting an irrational, crazy person or a person who loses their mind in charge and doesn't know what they're doing, or a religious maniac like the Ayatollah, which is the reason why there should be massive opposition to that religious maniac having atomic weapons who believes in suicide bombings. And that's why Reagan worked so hard to create nuclear defense, which the moron in the White House, before he was demented, opposed because he didn't think it was possible. And they used to laugh about it and say it was Star Wars. That is exactly what is protecting the people of Israel today from the numerous bombs that are being sent to Israel by Hamas. Now, that's kind of stupid what Hamas is doing because they're wasting a lot of their bombs. At most, maybe 2, 3, 4% do damage. So they'll shoot off 100 bombs and about 20% backfire and kill them or destroy their property. The rest of them get through, and all but about 3, 4% are diverted from their target. Now, sometimes even when they're diverted, they explode and shrapnel comes down. And the major issue now in Israel is not so much percussion bombing. The major issue now is being hit with shrapnel. And I've seen people in hospitals. I guess I just told you that story about the young lady, but there were a whole bunch of them there. And it's pretty bad. But it's a little different than dying. So, but the reality is that this is a situation where it appears as if my country is on the side of Iran, Hamas, Palestine. We're not helping the Israeli people. And then to tell them that when they resume the war in the South, they're not supposed to kill civilians. Well, you just gave Hamas the way to win the war, haven't you? Put civilians around you. Put civilians around you. And somebody also has to tell him and the make-believe Americans that are around him that we, the United States of America, our military, I believe this is correct. I heard this on, I guess it was on Newsmax. During the Afghan war and the Iraq war, we had a bigger civilian death count than the IDF has right now. Now, think about that. Think about that in the sense that they were not putting civilians right up there to be killed, or at least not in the way that Hamas does. And we were doing everything we can to avoid killing the civilians. They truly were collateral damage. Yet we killed more civilians than IDF did when the Hamas were putting the civilians right in harm's way. So you've got to say, and this is what our president should have said to them, rather than lecturing them on, you've got to conduct the war better in the South. God bless you for taking the efforts to try to save civilians, unlike the animals that you're dealing with. Not to tell them you've got to have more success in not killing civilians in the South. How are they going to eliminate Hamas if they don't kill civilians when Hamas surrounds themselves with civilians? So Biden has in about 5 different ways assured the survival of Hamas. Hamas will exist after this is over with, unless Bibi says, go to hell. I'm not going to pay attention to you. I'm going to do it my way because I know how to conduct wars, and you know how to sell out to China. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
This is Rudy Giuliani back again. And first of all, make sure you make your contribution to T2T.org, particularly as we're talking about war and peace and who knows what's going to happen to America. Let's make sure that our military people have the backing they deserve with that $11 a month to T2T.org, okay? And let's keep ourselves healthy with Balance of Nature. Let's have our fruits, our veggies every day, twice a day. Fruits, veggies, condensed here.
That's right. Be sure to go to Balance of Nature.
At once. Tough guy.
That's right. Be sure to go to balanceofnature.com and use the promo code Rudy. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy. You're doing your body or your own personal health a big favor, but you're also supporting everything the mayor does
doing it too.
day in and day out.
The show going,
Yeah.
So we can tell you the stuff that nobody else is going to tell you, like the next thing I'm going to tell you. But here, wouldn't this look nice on a Christmas tree?
Look at the colors. Hold the other one up, Mayor. You got.
I don't have the other little one with me right now. But no, I'll hold this up there.
Yeah,
you can see the color.
Look at that. Look at the color. What colors? What does that remind you of?
So my Christmas tree is about 30 feet away, and you're going to get to see it next week. And I'm going to find a way to put these on the Christmas tree.
That's awesome.
I think I put a hole in here and a little hook, and we're all set. Okay.
Balance of nature ornaments.
Now, I am so proud of Senator Marsha Blackburn, who I've known for many, many years. In fact, I sat through the debate in which I was defamed by a nitwit who said I was a Russian pawn when he full well knew that hard drive was not Russian disinformation, and it was validated by the FBI a year before. And liar Goldman is now going around saying the same. I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Why? I mean, Santos should not be thrown out of Congress without Goldman being thrown out of Congress. Saying that hard drive is Russian disinformation is a much greater disservice to all the private, stupid little things Santos did, none of which he should have done, and all of which he should go to jail for. But none of them have an implication for national security. Everything the Democrats do, all the lies they tell have to do with national security. And we got a guy in the White House who's taken millions from our biggest enemy. Well, in any event, Marsha, you know, they've been torturing the conservative justices, really, really good people. Like there's probably very few people I have more respect for than Clarence Thomas. And you can't imagine what a decent man he is, and what a good man, and what great things he's done for this country by sticking to the Constitution at a time in which it's been under massive attack by really these Marxists who hate the Constitution. Biden just about tells you he wants to change our form of government. And he was trained for years by communists. So let's play. Marsha explains this probably better than anyone. And what a great senator she is.
She is great.
Senator Graham mentioned Justice Sotomayor. Now, this summer, what we learned was that over the years, her staff has pressured public institutions to buy her books. And these books and her book deals have earned her $4 million. And I haven't heard you mention that. None of you have mentioned that. You don't want to talk about that. Nor have you mentioned the fact that she refused to recuse herself from not one, but 2 copyright infringement cases concerning her book publisher. You clearly don't want to talk about that one either. So I have filed an amendment issuing a subpoena to Justice Sotomayor's staff who helped to sell her books, as well as to her book publisher, so we can fully understand the backstory of these deals. And since we're in the business of issuing subpoenas now, here are a few more that I've filed. A subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate to provide the flight logs for his private plane, given the numerous allegations of human trafficking and sexual abuse surrounding Mr. Epstein. I think it is very important that we identify everybody that was on that plane and how many trips they took on that plane and the destinations to which they arrived. I've also filed a subpoena authorizing Secretary Becerra to come before this committee and explain to us how HHS and the Office of
A few more senators like that, we'd have a government, huh? Us Republicans wouldn't be as upset if we had a couple more senators like that. Hey, Cornyn, take a look at that, babes. You were a judge. How about you? You can grow them. Maybe they need balance of nature, some of those Republican senators. Maybe they'd grow you-know-whats if they had balance of nature. Right?
Right.
I'm going to ask Dr. Howard if it has if it makes you more courageous.
Wake them up for these hearings, and maybe they'll start asking some real questions.
Now we got to do a little bit more analysis on Empty Head. First of all,
we have another video.
Well, I got a quote from him that's really unreal. This is him. He made the following statement yesterday. Listen to it. Hamas unleashed a terrorist attack because they fear nothing more than Israelis and Palestinians living side by side in peace. Read a message from at Joe Biden X account on Tuesday afternoon. Now, here's the quote that's important. To continue down the path of terror, violence, killing, and war is to give Hamas what they seek, Biden added. We can't do that. Now, just in case you think I'm, can you show that?
Yep.
Can you show that?
Yep.
Particularly the last part. Isn't that saying he wants this war over? To continue down the path of terror, violence, killing, and war is to give Hamas what they seek. We can't
turn that around.
We can't do
Upside
that.
down. There we go. Yeah. Bring it down a little bit. There we go. Yep. Got it all.
Continue down the path of terror, violence, killing, and war is to give Hamas what they seek, Biden added. We can't do that. And isn't he doing everything he can to get this war over with? Which means that Israel will have done less than half the job of eliminating Hamas. First of all, I don't even know that they've done that much damage. The main leaders are all sitting fat and happy and billionaires in Qatar. Where's our contribution to this war? Our contribution to this war is the president of the largest military in the world, with the largest military in the world, that in the long run has Qatar by the short hairs, says to them, I want every one of those delivered to me. Tomorrow morning, I expect them all to be arrested. I expected them all to be in a Qatar prison with 1,000 guards around. I want you to make it easy on me because we give you so damn much money and we help you in so many ways. And you claim to be our friends. And you got to create relationships with them, but you don't have to sell out to them. So I want those murderers in my hands, or relationships within your country and mine can be in really deep trouble. Well, then people will say they'll take away our base in Qatar. They will. Tell me how. Tell me how they're going to take away our base. I think we got 30,000 personnel there. I trained the police there. I know the status of their military and the status of their police. We could probably preserve that base with just a Marine detachment for the ambassador. They wouldn't even think of challenging it. Do you know how fast, if the president knew how to talk like a man, do you know how fast those people would be delivered to us? Oh, yeah, real quick. But they know they have a coward, a sniveling little liar and crook, and he won't even raise it. He's never accomplished a damn thing for the U.S. When he was vice president, he tried to negotiate a status of forces agreement in Iraq. I swear to God, when he was doing it, I think my son was about 14 or 15. I said, if I sent to Andrew, he could probably do it. He didn't do it, which resulted, now please, these are not small things. It resulted in many people I know getting killed because we had no troops there. And the people in the MEK who had promises of protection from us, 120 of them got killed as a result of Joe Biden being incompetent or crooked. Now, why do I say crooked? Because somehow, some way, his slimy brother James came away with a big portion of a $1.5 billion housing contract in Iraq, while Joe Biden was the point man for Iraq. They don't even tell you about that. Oh, and James is not a house builder. James is not anything but a sleazy bagman, in trouble constantly for violating lobbying laws. He's just one of the numerous members of a family that is so crooked it smells up the White House. They can't, Well,
do you want to play a couple more of?
No war. The
Biden's
no war
greatest
comment
hits.
was written out. That was not stated by him, but basically, no more war. Gosh, we might actually destroy Hamas.
Apparently, according to Biden, President Trump was recently elected to Congress.
As your leader, Mr. Moon, we're good guys. Here in Colorado, the wind turbine manufacturing Vistas is investing $40 million to expand its factory and hire an additional 1,000 employees. Solar manufacturer Meyer Burger is building a new solar cell factory just down the road in Colorado Springs. Instead of cutting them, or like Congressman Trump and Bo want to do, we could use it to help millionaires and millions of families afford, instead of millionaires, millions of families afford a little help with senior care.
That was tough. That was some tough ones.
There are wars going on in Ukraine and in the Middle East. We are this close to being at war, right? And a massive terror attack just took place in Israel. And we got this in the White House. What is that? And how did you put him there? Why don't you go ask your fellow citizens, did you vote for him? And will you please apologize to me for having done it? Because this was noticeable then. Don't tell me you couldn't see it then. If I could see it, you could see it. Not only did I see it, I showed it to you on my podcast. I demonstrated it to you. I demonstrated to you that this demented nitwit thought he saw Roosevelt reading the comics on television. Well, Roosevelt was dead before there was television. It was LaGuardia who read comics. He wasn't demented then. Smartmatic has been disqualified from being involved in the election in the Philippines because the Philippines seems to have more concern with the integrity of elections than the United States. They were disqualified because they paid a bribe to the major election official. They paid a bribe to the major election official in Philippines. Now, this is the same Smartmatics that's suing me and President Trump and a number of others. I guess they only pay bribes in the Philippines, huh? You think maybe we were right about Smartmatic? Meanwhile, in Virginia, an election official was indicted for changing the vote in the 2020 election, changing the vote. I thought the Times said that didn't happen. It was a perfect election. Oh, should we guess what political party she's a member of? Would you like to make a bet on that? Oh, I don't bet.
No.
And I would just be stealing your money if I did. Of course, it was the Democrat major registrar in Prince William County in Virginia. But she must be the only one who changed votes in that election. She must be the only one. One example of one person. And the reason they didn't want to let us see all the paper and all the machines were because they were perfect and they didn't want to show what a good election. Do you know that the crooked governor and attorney general or secretary of state, those two creeps in Georgia would never let us see either the machines or the paper? Here they're saying, great election, great election. Okay, show me the damn paper. Because if you show me the damn paper, I'm going to take it and shove it down your fat throat. Because a lot of that paper is phony paper that you were putting together in a little factory you had about 3 blocks away. And you were shipping it over and sticking it in there so that, when are you going to finish the vote count? When Biden wins. And you don't think the coincidence, you have trouble with the fact that I don't accept the coincidence that he was ahead in 5 states. You close down the vote and then you finish the counting when you get enough votes for Biden to win. And you won't let me look at any of the paper in any of those states. I can't go look and see, did you put in 4,000 or 5,000 ballots that were produced by a machine that went like that? Or companies like Smartmatic that like to pay off? Gee, was anybody paid off in 2020 in America? Or do they just do it in the Philippines? Nobody's ever looked at that. No, these companies wouldn't pay anybody off. No. They are very, very honorable people.
Yeah, they were played out to be the victims, and these honest, innocent victims. Oh my goodness, it was insane.
And you can't look at their machines.
Right? Yeah. Oh no.
Oh my goodness! And then when Kilchain looked at their machines, a movie that I don't know what they've done to the movie.
Yeah.
When Kilchain looked at the machines, basically every one of the experts said they are the most vulnerable to attack of any machine they've ever seen. And then they showed you exactly how you can change the vote in all these machines and how they are lying about the fact that they're not accessible by the internet and you can't change the vote. And that movie was out 2 years before and praised by every Democrat. And now it's almost impossible to find the movie.
And
well,
before we go, Mayor,
I think we've gone over time and we're going to
tomorrow. Where should they find you? If they're in the area, if they're in the tri-state area, where should they go tomorrow night?
WABCradio.com. And then tomorrow night, you should go to
Ronkonkoma, New York,
to the America First
Warehouse.
And it's going to be at 2:30. It's going to start, but you can come anytime after that.
We got the website right on the screen.
You will be able to watch the radio show live. You'll be able to watch America's Mayor live, and you'll be able to hang around and ask questions and
it's a good time.
Challenge and get all worked up by the wonderful, beautiful patriotism that exudes in that place.
It's an
really
experience.
Forward to it.
It's not just an event. It's an experience.
And now we're going to listen to, I don't know why, but we're going to listen to this debate between Newsom, the heir apparent to the Chinese, the new Chinese selected position of Democratic candidate.
So catch us. So we'll in lieu of America's Mayor Confidential tonight, you can either watch this debate happening or go maybe watch some paint dry. I don't know.
And and the Santos thing is the biggest. I mean, I think Santos should be thrown out, but he shouldn't be thrown out because it's unconstitutional. How's that?
Great.
Here you go. There it is. God bless